Welcome again to another edition of Community Forum. Today I want to, as I always say, be short. I want to not take up too much of your time and neither mine. But I wanted to touch on someone that asked me about a subject to do concerning inflation. However, I was taught, I stand on the foundation as I always say, but I was taught when you do a subject, you really milk it. I mean, get the most out of it. So we did one concerning the Great Resignation and artificial intelligence and how we connected the dots and how it all tied in. So we're going to keep on that road and touch on inflation. But this is part 3 to artificial intelligence, the Great Resignation and connecting the dots. And please don't forget, very soon we will be starting our own podcast. So hang around for that. What I wanted to say to you today in brief is that first we want to summarize part 1 and part 2. Under the Great Resignation and in artificial intelligence, we were able to connect and show that this resignation, this great resignation, will possibly be replaced by artificial intelligence. That artificial intelligence is already in place to replace human labor. So it's not so much as an alarm as you and I may think it is that people are continuously walking off. Now, they have valid reasons why they're walking off. They're walking off in great numbers. But then there are those of us who our skills don't match what's needed today. In fact, these robotic figures, artificial intelligence, have replaced our skills. I mean, think about it. If you can have one person operating machines just sitting in a set place as I am sitting right now and just monitoring and operating machines instead of watching over people that you have to pay labor to, when you can replace the people with a machine, a robot, and all you have to do is maintain the robot, which is cheaper. And of course, you're in business to make money. So these humans will become obsolete. Now, what do you do when they become obsolete? Because you have nothing for them to do. So they have become obsolete. You know, when you have clothing and you wear it and you put it on and outlive its usefulness, you don't keep clothing around, do you? You get rid of it. Now, I want you to connect the dots on that. So you have people, they've outlived their usefulness, and going to college or going to school, it's good if you can take up subject matters that have significance. But things such as history, and I'm not saying history is not important, social studies, social science, using outdated material to correct a problem that exists today. Now again, you should know your history, because out of all of our research, history is best qualified to reward all research. So I'm not taking that away. It has its significance. It has its place. But in addition to that, we need to take something else. And going to school, going to college, one thing that separates the Ivy League from the other colleges is that they teach you to own and operate your business, while the other schools teach you to go to work for someone else. That's the main difference between the two. And since you become obsolete, you become a burden and no one wants you anymore. So the thing is, how do you get rid of them? This is true. I'm going to skip all that because we did that in part 1 and part 2. And I'm going to repeat something that I was taught. You must be worth something in order to be saved. You're not going to save something that's not worth anything. You're just not going to do that. Now let's go into inflation, and I got to close this one out. Inflation, the current rate is at 6%. This is the highest that it's been since 1990. Inflation, the meaning of it is decline of purchasing power of a given currency over time. Inflation erodes the purchasing power of our dollar. So that means Prices are going up, but your dollar doesn't have the value to match. And when prices rise excessively, our savings deposited into these banks, these credit unions, it decreases in value and becomes worthless since the money has far less purchasing power. President Biden, we're here in America now. President Biden said, everything from a gallon of gas to a loaf of bread costs more. We still face challenges. We have to tackle them. We have to tackle them head on, he says. Everything's going up, right? Cost of living is going up. But the dollar has no value. It's just a note. And you print paper all day. The Labor Department has reported that prices have increased 6.2% over the past 12 months. Think about that. 6.2% prices have increased. Gasoline, for instance, the prices have increased nearly 50% over the past year, while food prices have increased nearly 6%. According to a poll conducted by the progressive firm Navigator Research, this month, or the previous month, I believe, 54% of Americans now say the cost of groceries and gas has become a major crisis, and marking it a 17-point increase since September. We're now in December. I'm going to skip a lot of this. We was going to go into the Federal Reserve, but I'll do that at a later date. Now think about this. When you have this type of chaos, what are you going to do with these people? Well, there's the prison system. And, the pipeline straight to the prison system. Let me just say this. Did you know that there are prisons that are privately owned? Did you know that? And did you know that they have made a contract with certain states that a certain percentage of the prisons had to be filled? So let me give you an example, and I want you to go look this up. In the state of Arizona, where? The state of Arizona, a private prison sued the state government of Arizona for having a lack of prisoners. I couldn't make this stuff up. They had an out-of-court settlement because they didn't have their prisons. It was supposed to be filled with a 97% capacity, and it wasn't. And they were able to sue, and they won. They had an out-of-court settlement. That was in Arizona. And I believe the company that sued them was called the Management and Training Corporation. Now, think about this. They've sued on the grounds of a breach of contract because Arizona couldn't get enough prisoners. Is this a law-abiding society or what? Oh man, I'm telling you, I couldn't make this stuff up, but let us go on. Australia have what they call quarantine camps. US has its equivalent, empty jails. And we can point out at a later date where these private prisons are, but we got to close on out. One of the board members for Premier Prison Services, which is a private prison, listen to what he says. He says, as a citizen, I would not like to see that many people locked up. But as we're in the business, I'd like to play our part in it. As a citizen, no, I don't want to see anyone locked up. But it's a business. And we can go into the slave labor in U.S. prisons, and possibly in your country, your state, the same thing goes on, where they only make $2 a week sometimes, $2 a day, certain labor that they have to do. Oh man. I'm going to close this out. I got to close it out. Yeah. I apologize. I wanted to be a little bit longer and go into where the prisons are and just different things, but we just have to close out. Now think about this. The president here in America, and I don't know about the different countries that you may be in, that you may be watching, he wants to hire 80,000 80,000 IRS tax agents or IRS service agents, and go find those who are avoiding tax or tax evasion for the purpose of tax evasion. 80,000. 80,000. 80,000. See, these prisons have to be filled up. It's all a business. College is a business. Prison system is a business. And this is the corruption that continuously go on. And when you have an education such as what you get here, poor education, so you can't get a better job, so you get a poor paying job. And when you have a poor paying job, you're in poor housing. So it's a cycle that continuously go on, is a generational curse. And we have to be aware and put an end to that and stop it. Now, I am not against education because I think education is that which can free us, but it's the right type of education. It's proper education. It's a knowledge of self, knowing who you are. Why? What's your purpose in life? Fulfilling your purpose in life, because that is true happiness. That is true happiness. Thank you. Didn't want to take up too much of your time. I took up way more than what I anticipated, but I'll see you again on the next edition of what? Community Forum. Please subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and share it with someone. And promise, I'll be much shorter in my talk to you next time. But I am so glad to have you here with me. I don't want to stop, but I am. Be safe. Peace.